All right. So, Shanti Mantra we just chanted, and this is from, as we know that we have 4 Vedas, so for each Veda, one Shanti Mantra has been assigned. Okay. The Mundaka Upanishad belongs to Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda. So Mandukya Upanishad also belongs to Atharva Veda. That's why the same peace chant for Mandukya Upanishad as well as for Mundaka Upanishad. Okay. So now let's start with question. Question is, why do we do peace chant? Why do we do peace chants before the commencement of study? Can you recall? Why do we do peace chant? Yes, please unmute and please, yeah. No, you have to unmute. We cannot hear. Yes, now, yes.
Okay. I'm not sure because this is my first class in Vedanta, but
yes,
from studying of psychology, I think calming of the agitated mind into peace makes it more receptive to gain knowledge, I think.
Yes, of course. Good. That's a good observation. I got something in chat. Learning or contemplation needs concentration, for which peace is in environment and in mind is necessary. Right, right. Okay. Any other idea? Yes. Comments. Yes. Yes. Unmute. Please unmute yourself.
There you go.
Yes. Here you go.
Well, I like Preeti's suggestion, but it also feels like an invocation to the presiding deities.
For what?
To support us.
For peace and understanding of the mantras.
Right.
To support our learning. Good. For me, it's to ask them to support our learning, to help us
right.
Give their energy and power to us. Yeah.
Right. It's a prayer. Yes. Any other? Unmute and say, yeah. Mrs. Mukherjee, yes. You wanted to say? Yes. Muktaji, yes. Yeah. Unmute. You have to unmute yourself.
Yes, Maharaj. Peace chant is to show our regards, and for the Acharya we will be knowing the scripture in a methodical and proper way, and Adhi-Daivik 3 ways, Adi Bhautik and Adhyatmik. So always there should be the calmness, strength of the mind, and to receptivity to get the knowledge we should absorb the knowledge and activate it in our daily life. So that way peace chant is to show our regards and praying for the grace and ashirvad from the Acharya, and showing the respect and to have the knowledge properly.
Yes, to some extent, right. It's true. But the thing is, Acharya is also doing the same peace chant. Okay. So Acharya also needs the grace.
Supreme. Taking the grace of Supreme.
Please unmute us as the host, Swami. Okay. I have, you have to unmute yourself. I have not muted anybody. You have to just the mind will be ready to receive instruction from the, yes. Okay. Good. All of them is good. Anyone else wants to add something? Why do we do peace chant? This was the question. So one we heard was to invoking the grace so that we can, learn properly and support our learning. Another was to calm the mind so that we can properly study, to set an intention. Cannot unmute. So what's the matter? Why cannot unmute? Okay. Okay. Let me mute all. Hello. Okay. Hello. Unmute. Okay. Now I think you can unmute yourself. Try.
Yes. Thank you, Swami.
Okay.
Yes, we can do it now.
Okay. I am sorry. Yeah. Yes. All right. You got to set an intention, cannot unmute. Okay. Yes. All of them are.
To silence the mind, Maharaj. It silences the mind and makes it more focused.
Right. Okay. To sum it part, as I understand, there are at least 4 reasons why we do peace chant. One is to gather the mind. We were doing something else or many things, and now we are going to a study. So peace chant is a warm-up. Let's call it warm-up. Okay. So to gather the scattered mind and preparing our mind or priming our mind for the study proper. Okay. Let's call it warming up. Before doing the actual workout, we are recommended to do a warm up. So it's a warm up, one reason. Number 2 is it's a prayer for successful completion. Okay, successful completion of the study, so that we can complete the study properly. Third is prayer for making our mind ready to receive the teachings of the text, and so that we can assimilate what we are learning. Okay. And fourth is called, it is an etiquette, Shishtachara. Okay. In Sanskrit, it is called Shishtachara. Shishta means the well-behaved people. Okay. The gentlemanly way, gentle people. That's what they do. Okay. That's what they do when they study, and they do a peace chant before the actual study. So this is a etiquette. Okay. These are the 4 main reasons, and we have tried to answer it in different ways. All of them are included, I think, in these 4 reasons. Okay. So this is the peace chant we shall be chanting every day before the class. It is from Atharva Veda. And since Mundaka Upanishad belongs to Atharva Veda, just like Mandukya Upanishad, both have got the same peace chant. Okay. This is why we shall do the peace chant every day. All right. Now, before going into the Upanishad proper, I would like to give a brief introduction to the Vedas itself. Okay, Vedas. Many of you already know about the Vedas, but some people have joined later on. And even those who know, to refresh their memory, have a brief discussion on the Vedas. Upanishads are part of the Vedas, so knowing little bit of the Vedas is to contextualize the Upanishad. Okay, so we are reading Mundaka Upanishad. It belongs to Atharva Veda. And what is Atharva Veda? And what is Atharva Veda in the scheme of entire Vedic literature? Okay, a little bit of this, I think, will be good to know. Okay. introduction to Veda. Okay, before I go there, I would like to, especially for the newcomers, a few things about our study method, how we study the Upanishads. What is my preferred method of conducting the class? All of you know already, those who have been attending the classes for a long time. So our method is not any particular commentary or interpretation. Any Upanishad or especially any Vedic text is liable to many types of interpretation and or commentaries. We would not follow any particular commentary or interpretation. Okay. So, and rather we shall be drawing upon from different interpretations to make sense of the text. Make sense of the text. So whatever interpretation helps us to understand the text better, we shall follow that. Okay. You may say eclectic way. And also, we shall try to find out the practical implications for our life of these Upanishads. Not only understanding the philosophy behind the text, but also what are the practical implications in our life. Okay. And we shall try to understand the Upanishad in a collective way. That is, all of us should play an active part in understanding the Upanishads. As we have found in the past that for any text or any idea, all of you have had your own insights, which were quite novel for others. So we learn from each other. Okay. So it is not a class where I will be only do the talking and you will be only listening. No, it will be interactive and you will get opportunities to speak out your mind, your insights, your takeaway from the Upanishad. So it is more than a collective effort to understand the Upanishad. Okay. So it's more an active learning. Now and then I will ask you what's your takeaway message from a particular class or from a particular mantra. So, and it is not mandatory for you to reply, but I encourage you to try to express your take on the mantra, what you have understood in the mantra. Then, from time to time, we shall recap what we have already learned. This is a long Upanishad, so time to time, we shall do the recap to get an idea of what we have already studied, okay, before going forward. And I shall update. You have probably, all of you have got the link to the shared document, and there I shall keep on updating before the classes, after the classes. The shared document is where you will get sometimes some important ideas which we have discussed in the class, then synopsis of them in that shared document. And also for the next class, the mantra that we are going to study in our next class, I shall upload the mantra and its word for word meaning in this shared document beforehand. Unlike other previous classes, this time we shall not go word for word translation in the class. Okay. I shall do the word for word translation beforehand, upload in the shared doc so that you can take a look before the class. Okay. And usually I email every week on Tuesdays about the upcoming class and anything that is required to be told about the previous class. So that will be the email. So those who have joined new and who are not part of the email distribution list, please, if you want to get email updates, please leave your email ID in the chat box. Okay. This is about how we shall proceed in the class. Okay. All right. With this, let's enter into Veda. Veda. The word Veda has come from where? The word Veda has come from
Vid, wisdom.
Vid. Right. Vid means to know or wisdom or knowledge. Vid. Okay. And you know, is cognate ideas, cognate root. In Greek, the same vid is idea. English, wit. Latin, video. Latin video has the same root as vid, the Veda. Okay, to know. And so to Veda, vid means to know, and the source of knowledge is called Veda. Source of knowledge. So, as Swami Vivekananda interpreted Veda, Veda is not any particular book. According to Swami Vivekananda, he said that all the accumulated knowledge, wisdom of the entire human civilization so far, as well as those will come later on, all are Veda. All are part of Vedas, wisdom. It's a broad interpretation of Veda. But in a traditional way of knowing Veda is some books which contain that wisdom are Vedas. Okay, and as far as we know that almost 80% of Veda, the books or the wisdom that was available from lineage, in a lineage from mouth to mouth, 80% of Veda is lost. What we know now is only 20%, about 20%. And among the available information or wisdom, even less than 1% is Upanishad. Less than 1% of even the available material, less than 1% is the Upanishad. And there are so many Upanishads, and some of the Upanishads are very large, very large. For example, Brihat Aranyak Upanishad, Chandogyo Upanishad. These are large Upanishads. All right. So, a simplified introduction for Veda, that it was impersonal in the sense not written by any particular person. And most of these Vedas, these wisdoms were revelation. That is, they were revealed in receptive minds. Minds which are receptive, concentrated, and eager to know the secret of our life, secret of the universe. So these wisdoms were revealed in the depth of their meditation or contemplation, in receptive minds. Okay. And what are those receptive minds called?
Rishis.
Good, rishis. Okay, rishis. Literal meaning of rishis are the seer. Okay, to see. Okay, to see. That is, they visualized the mantras, visualized the wisdom. So they are called rishi. Okay. So this example of some rishis, there were both men and women. Angiras, whose name we shall encounter in Mundaka Upanishad, Angiras, Bhrigu, in Taittiriya, Yagyavalkya, a famous one. We encounter Yagyavalkya in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Then there are women rishis like Gargi, Maitreyi, and others. These rishis, these receptive minds, these seekers, they sought to understand the fundamental truths of life. Why are we born? How did the world come into existence? How can we live a good life? Questions like that. And because of their intense inquiry and deep meditation, they were able to discover the answers to these profound questions. These ancient sages then composed hymns and texts later on in Sanskrit language to express these truths. So compositions were first verbal, and they were transmitted in tradition from one person to one person. Usually it ran into families. And much later on, they were recorded. So they were not recorded before 1500 BCE, 1500 before Christ. That was when first these were started being recorded. But before that, much of the Vedas were lost because there are human errors in transmitting. If there is no written material, only we learn from the word of mouth and chant it. Then in every successive generation, there is a definite chance of missing, losing some part. You know the game, right? What is the name of the game where people stand in line and the first person utter a sentence? What is the name of that game?
Gossip.
Gossip, yeah.
Or telephone.
What's that?
Telephone?
Telephone, yes, exactly. So even a small simple sentence at the end of the line gets distorted. Some of it gets lost. So what to speak of this huge amount of knowledge and wisdom that was being transmitted from mouth to mouth. So they got lost before they were recorded. Okay. So how the Vedas, okay, any question till now? Any question? Okay. All right.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, please, Betty.
They were written incrementally, not all at once, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Who
Yeah.
brought them all together.
Yeah, Vyasa classified them. Okay, but they were recorded during the period of 1500 BCE to 500 BCE. Okay, 1500 BCE to 500 BCE, this 1000 years, that was the period when they were recorded, they were written. This is the usual view of the scholars, although definitely it is difficult to say. Okay, so yes, they were recorded incrementally. Not one fine morning, everybody decided and sat and started writing down. No, they were done gradually over a period of 1000 years. Okay, so this is how the Vedas developed. First came the hymns. These hymns are outpouring of poetic minds about the vastness, immensity of the universe, mystery of life, mystery of the forces in nature. They watched them and marveled at them. And they composed poems. Okay. It was just, they were awe-inspired by nature and mysteries of life, that became the hymns. Okay. Mostly Vedas are hymns. Example, Purusha Suktam, that is what we are exploring in our Sunday talk. It is about the meditation on creation. So in that time, some sage were meditating on the mystery of creation, and that sage or seer contemplates that one ultimate reality called Purusha, that itself became everything. It is transcendental being, but also at the same time, it became immanent in the universe. It became universe as well as it is beyond universe. Such is a Purusha Sukta. Okay, an example of a hymn. So this went on. Then came liturgy. That is how to connect with the higher reality with concrete acts of rituals. So rituals everywhere, universally, in every civilization, we find that human beings have an innate urge to connect with something larger than oneself. And that too, collectively, with some collective activities, so that they connect with something which is higher, which is transcendent, through some activities together. These are called rituals, collective activities, which also fostered community. When we do activities together, it creates social bonding. Okay. In fact, I have a book by a professor from Boston University, How God Works. So he is a psychologist. See, he traces that many of the rituals served traditionally the same purpose that many psychiatrists do now. Many psychiatrists or psychotherapies, what they are doing now, rituals did for several centuries, millennia, have done the same thing. One of the things, for example, that when we do a same thing together, especially if it has got a rhythm, in the same rhythm, we are doing something, chanting something, or dancing to a same tune, it creates a enormous amount of bonding among the people around. So fostered community. So that was the second phase of the Vedas, when they wanted to, first they was marveling at the immensity, vastness, beauty of universe and the forces and nature and mystery of life. Then they felt an urge to connect with this mystery, this transcendent reality, this higher reality through collective actions. They became liturgy. In Sanskrit, it is called
Rituals.
In Sanskrit, it is called, these rituals called
Karmakanda. Karmakanda.
Yes, Karmakand. When more specifically,
I think they're called Vidhi.
No, Vidhi means rules, how to do.
Okay.
These rituals,
Utsav.
Yagya, Yaga. I knew as soon as I would utter the word, people will say, oh, we knew it. Yaga and Yagya, okay? Modern day version is Homa. Okay. Homa is shorter version and tantric version. Okay. This liturgy, how to connect with something higher through some concrete actions by offering into fire things that we hold dear, like butter and milk and things like that, which are dear to us. We give it, offer it, so that we can connect with that higher reality. Incidentally, puja that we know, ritualistic worship, is a successor of yajna. Okay, puja is nothing but modified yajna or yaga. All right, liturgy.
Swami,
Yes, Betty?
what about the idea of sacrifice? Was that connected with yagna?
Yes, liturgy includes everything. Liturgy includes everything. First, to connect with, and these how to connect with some concrete rituals, and these rituals started getting complicated and complicated and complex and complex and time-taking and extremely meticulous. Okay, this is how they went on, these rituals. But the initial urge or fundamental urge was how to connect with the higher reality, transcendent reality. Okay. Okay. And liturgy, that is how to connect with the higher reality with concrete rituals, acts of rituals, and then how to perform the rituals. That became the laws or rules of rituals. Okay. Laws and rules of rituals. That is a major part of the Vedas, how to perform the rituals and what result those rituals will give us. That is a part of the chunk of the Veda. Finally, the wisdom part. Wisdom. That is, people went on doing, but this philosophical question started coming. Although these questions were already there, but rituals were predominant, and parallelly, some handful of people started asking the question, what is the one reality behind the flux of the world? What is one reality? And so we get questions like this again and again. This type of question, what is one reality? Is there a reality, ultimate reality, behind all this multiplicity? If, what is that one reality? For example, in Mundaka Upanishad itself, very soon we shall encounter the question, what is that which being known, everything else is known? What is that reality by knowing which everything can be known? Or when we read Kena Upanishad, there was also one question, right? It started with one question. Do you remember the question of Kena Upanishad?
By whom?
Yes, by whom? And by whom is the question starts. And how? Yes, then by whom are we driven? That is, who drives us? By whom? By what reality? The eyes see, the mind functions, the speech speaks. Okay, this was the question. That is, search for one reality behind this multiplicity. This is the wisdom part. We call it Upanishad. So, chronological development of the themes is first hymns, which are outpouring of poetic minds about the vastness of the universe, the mystery of life. Second is liturgy or yajna, yaga, how to connect with that higher reality through some concrete rituals, actions, done collectively. And how to do those rituals. That was the second phase in the Veda. Third phase of the Veda is asking fundamental questions, philosophical questions about the nature of life itself, origin of life, or what is the ultimate reality. Wisdom, we call it Upanishad. Okay. Upanishads or Vedas are also called hard. That is Shruti. Shruti means which were hard. That was, they were transmitted orally and developed over centuries, and was not a creation in a single time period. So their hymns and texts were passed on from generation to generation, from teacher to student, by chanting them aloud, and they were not yet written down. So what happened, as I said earlier, if transmitted orally, there is a chance of getting lost. And indeed, it got lost. So there came someone whose name was Vyasa. Vyasa is sage, who is a compiler, who is an editor. Okay. So Vyasa found that if we want to preserve these materials, we need to classify them. Okay. We need to classify them. Why classify them? If we classify the Vedas and then hand down each section or each Veda to one group of people, one clan, then there is a greater chance of keeping the integrity of the Vedas or preserving the Vedas. Earlier, they are all mixed up here and there. So it is creating a, you may say, a knowledge society. Knowledge society we use to describe our present society, knowledge society. It was another kind of knowledge society. Create a knowledge society which will exclusively be devoted to preserving and transmitting these Vedas. So how to do that? Classify them in 4 types. Then came 4 Vedas. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. Rig Veda, it is the largest one, containing lot of hymns. There are 1028 hymns divided into 10 books. Each book is called mandala. So 10 mandalas, 1028 hymns, that is Rig Veda. Then Samaveda. Samaveda is nothing but Rig Veda, but they, instead of being chanted, they were arranged in such a way that they can be sung, for singing. Okay, remember, sing, sang, sam. Sing, sang, sam. Okay, Samaveda. And Samaveda is the origin of Indian Hindustani classical music, which we know a very elaborate and sophisticated Indian Hindustani classical music. Samaveda is the origin of Indian classical music. Okay, so what is Samaveda? Nothing but most of the hymns from Rig Veda arranged in such a way, rearranged in such a way that they can be sung. When they can be sung? When can they be sung? Any idea? When to sing? When to sing them?
During rituals.
Yes, during the yajna, during the rituals. Thanks, Paul. Actually, a great part of the rituals used to be lot of priests. And these priests had only one duty: keep on chanting, keep on singing. Okay. And depending upon what they are chanting, they were given different names. Okay, Hota, Adharyu, then many different types of priests used to sing different types of hymns. So those who used to sing, what they used to sing? Samaveda. Okay, Samaveda. And if you still the tradition exists, still the tradition exists. If you, for example, Purusha Suktam, right? One Suktam that we are trying to understand in our Sunday lecture. That same Purusha Suktam, if you search on YouTube, Purusha Suktam Samaveda style, you will find a altogether different way of chanting. Okay, a different way of chanting, not the way we chant. It is another way of chanting, Samaveda style. That is, it is being sung, not being chanted. Samaveda. All right? Rig Veda are the hymns, Samaveda are those hymns, but arranged in such a way that they can be sung. Then Yajur Veda, Yaj. You know this word Yaj, from which Yagya, Yaga, that is to worship, Okay. The ritual. Yajurveda contains prose commentaries on how religious and sacrifices should be performed. How these sacrifices should be performed, their rules, their mantras of rituals, these are well classified into Yajurveda. Okay, Yaj. Remember, Yaj, Yajna, Yaga, and Yajurveda. Then there was one final Veda called Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda kind of miscellaneous. Vyasa, those part of the Vedas he could not put into, either in Rik, either in Sama or Yaju, all of them he put into Atharva Veda. But Atharva Veda has also, we see that they usually include some magic incantations, okay, magic chanting, which we hardly understand now. It's a kind of magic formula, magic incantations and things like that, written in the style of folklore, that is Atharva Veda. All right, so here is a diagram, okay, to give an idea. So Veda, 4 collections. Rig Veda are the hymns, Sama Veda are the songs, Yajurveda liturgy, and Atharva Veda incantations. Okay, and when we try to explain the Vedas in that way, definitely we are leaving out many finer details. Okay, because extremely difficult to say what is the main theme of each Veda. So when we are trying to say this way, it is glossing over. We are glossing over. We are trying to generalizing. So one can find many things which may belong to Yajurveda, but may not be liturgy. Okay. They may find something in Atharva Veda, they are not incantations. Okay. So Vedas contain so many ways. This is a broad way of classification. Okay. So it should be taken in that spirit, that it's a broad way of looking at things. All right. Okay. Any question? Okay. Samaveda. Okay. Different Veda styles are followed based on family lineage, right? Different Vedas are in the family lineage. All right. So we have 4 Vedas, but each 4 Veda has also, each 4 Veda has 2 types of materials. Largely, two types of material. Okay, each of these Vedas contain largely two types of materials. Do you remember? Do you remember the broad way of classifying the materials in the Veda?
Brahmana and Samhita.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Samhita and Brahmana. Okay, Samhita is mantras, hymns. Okay, and Brahmana is the ritualistic part. Okay, good. So mantra, which is also known as Samhita. What is mantra? Prayer and hymns, two different forces of nature. Prayers and hymns to some imaginary gods like Indra, Varuna, like that. Then prayer and hymns on creation, or simply the outpouring at the mystery of life. These are one types of material which can be found in the Vedas. And second type of materials are called Brahmana, that is rules and regulations regarding rituals, ceremonies, fire ceremonies. Now, among the Brahmana, there are some portions that address the problem of the third stage of life, third stage of Vedic life, the forest dweller's life. Okay, so as we know, Vedic life, there were 4 stages. One was brahmacharya, that is, you study, you go to a teacher's place, residential, mostly ashramas, you stay there, you learn all types of knowledge that were available, including spiritual knowledge, Vedas, archery, then how to do any vocational work, grammar, whatever knowledge was available, each student was given all types of knowledge during their student life. And they used to live with their teacher or guru in that atmosphere. Okay. And after that, there used to be convocation, samavartana. Okay. And you know how convocation ended? How the convocation ended? Sacred thread, sacred thread ceremony. They were used to be given a sacred thread. That means you have completed your study. Okay. Now you go out and make a living and enter into family life. That is householder's life. So first was brahmacharya, life of a student, then garhastha. Garhastha means griha. Griha means house. So a householder's life, where you live with whatever knowledge you had and a virtuous life and earn, make a living, and try to take care of family members, raise your children. That was, and when your children have reached such a stage that they themselves are now ready to enter into householder's life, then the couple, husband, spouse, both husband and wife, they used to retire to a forest life. Okay, so away from the society, then concentration will be more on the spiritual pursuit of life. So when one goes to forest, definitely they are not bringing all of their belongings with them, right? So because you are going out, maybe living in a cabin, a hut, a small house, so you cannot bring all of your things. You bring only your essential things. In that case, you cannot do those rituals anymore, because rituals need lot of things, lot of resources. You don't have that. So what do? So you transfer those rituals into mental act. That is, contemplate. So transform the physical actual ritual into a meditation. For example, a fire ceremony. Now you mentally imagine that this whole world, there is a ceremony going on, fire. And the oblations we are offering are through our breaths. The in-breath and out-breath, these are our offering to that fire sacrifice. And that is leading to that, connecting us to that higher reality. So all those ceremonies and rituals which were part of daily life now transform into a contemplative exercise, a meditation, a upasana. Upasana, okay. Upasana means a mental act, okay. That is, those part of the Vedas are called Aranyakas. Aranyakas. Why they are called Aranyakas? Why are they called Aranyakas? This is an easy question. Yes, Paul.
Aranya means forest.
Yes. Yes. Aranya means forest. Aranyaka means things which were composed in the forest for the forest dwellers. Okay. Aranyakas. And finally, we find a very small part of the Aranyakas, concluding part of the Aranyakas is the emphasis is now on naturalistic and philosophical inquiry about the processes of life and death, the workings of the body, and nature of reality. It comes at the end of the Aranyakas. Aranyakas come at the end of the Veda. So, what comes at the end of the Veda then, each Veda? The Upanishads. Upanishads, where the questions are now not now doing actual rituals, not even about contemplation or carrying over those rituals in mental plane. No, now it is a quest for wisdom and knowledge, inquiry. Okay. Here also there is meditation, but a different types of meditation. Meditation based on the higher reality, or Brahman, or Purusha, or Akshara, named differently, or Atma, my own self. Okay. And more about the wisdom, the answer to those questions, that is Upanishad. So, as it comes at the end of each Veda, so Veda, Anta. Anta means end. Anta. Anta means end. Vedanta. Upanishad, one name of the Upanishad is Vedanta. Okay. One of the names of Upanishad is Vedanta. It comes at the end of each Veda, so Vedanta. Okay, so here is the diagram again. Okay, take a look. I shall share all of these in the shared doc. Okay, you can get all of this diagram. Veda, two broad divisions within each Veda. Samhita, that is hymns or prayers. Brahmana, rules of rituals. And among Brahmana, there is a part called Aranyaka for forest dwellers, where we find all types of mental rituals. Rituals done mentally, upasana. And finally, Upanishad or philosophical inquiry. Okay, these are, so in each Veda, we find some part of all of these. Okay, in Yajurveda, the rules of the rituals will be the most, samhitas will be less. But in Rig Veda, the hymns will be more, rules of rituals will be less. There will be some Aranyaka, some Upanishad. Okay. So easy to confuse among four Vedas and division within Veda. Okay. Four Vedas. So this this is structure of the or themes within the Vedas. Okay, themes within the Vedas. And 4 Vedas are just like compilation or collection.
Prayers and mantra.
Brahmanaka.
Okay. All right. So, to summarize, Samhitas are collection of hymns or sacred formula, and Brahmana is liturgical prose exposition. Okay. All right. And finally, another way of classifying Vedas, another way, that is Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda means ritual. Karma means work. Kanda means portion. The work portion, that is, you do this ritual, you will get that. You do this ritual, you will get that. Karma Kanda. And Upanishad is called Jnana Kanda. Jnana is knowledge. Kanda means portion. Kanda, Jnana Kanda, the wisdom portion. And there comes in between Upasana. Upasana is a bridge between Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. The ritualistic part and the wisdom part connected by Upasana or this contemplation, where transition is from actual act of ritual to bringing the ritual at the level of meditation, that is Upasana, leading to this ultimate philosophical inquiry of the Upanishads. Okay, another way of putting Vedas, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana. All right. All right. So next day we shall take a look at Mundaka Upanishad. Okay, the overview of the Mundaka Upanishad. Today's introduction was about Veda. Upanishad is part of Veda. Then next day we shall enter into Mundaka Upanishad proper. All right. There first we shall take the meaning of the word Upanishad, which is known to all of you. Still we shall go over it. Then the meaning of the word Mundaka. Then shall take a over bird's eye view of Mundaka Upanishad, which will serve as the map, okay, road map. And what I'd like to do, yes, remember this link. Remember this link, which is the link for the shared doc. Okay. So if you type it anywhere on your browser, the shared doc will open. tinyurl.com VSS, that is Vedanta Society of Sacramento, Mundaka. So irrespective of whether I send email or not, this is the place you will get whatever I want to share, I will share there. Okay. You have already received this, where I have shared the how to chant the peace mantra, meaning of the peace mantra, word for word meaning of the peace mantra. I have already provided. Okay. So please remember this link. All right. And not for the next class, but after that, when we enter into the first mantra, you will see that even before we discussed first mantra, the mantra itself, word for word meaning, all of these will be available here. And also I shall share in this doc what we have studied about the Veda. Okay, the Vedas, what we have discussed today, it will be available in this doc. Okay, so yeah, bookmark this doc, write it down somewhere. You can always go there. All right. Any question about what we have discussed so far? Please go ahead and ask.
Swami?
Yes, Victoria.
Yeah,
yes.
you used the word imaginary gods, And you know, we focus on one reality, but I was just wondering how did that develop? The imaginary gods.
Imaginary gods is this, you know, these, as we find that at that time, these forces of nature, for example, sun, okay?
Oh.
Allow participant to unmute. Yeah, you can unmute yourself. Yes, for example, sun as a force. So they gave a name, the sun god. Okay, sun god. Or they imagine that there will be someone who will be presiding over all these forces of nature. Air is a force, sunlight is a force, rain is a force. So they imagine there must be someone who is presiding over all of them. They gave the name Indra. Indra, who is literally the CEO of the gods. Okay. So in naturalistic way, I mean, if we leave faith aside, we have to say these were imaginary aspects of God, okay, to them. So to the same one reality, Brahman, they were seeing as that same Purusha, that same ultimate reality is functioning through different agents who are called different Deva. Deva, okay. Powerful beings who wield power over nature. You're welcome, Victoria. Yes.
I have a question, Swami.
Yes, Betty.
Was there a progression from dualism to non-dualism, or does it all imply monism?
No. Upanishads have all the ideas: monism, dualism, qualified non-dualism. Okay. As I said, Upanishads are liable to different types of interpretations. Okay. So everywhere we can find out that all the ideas were there. The dualistic idea, non-dualistic ideas. Shankaracharya, to establish non-dual school of philosophy of Vedanta, he emphasized the non-dual aspects of Upanishads. Madhvacharya, another great philosopher, he interpreted the Upanishads in dualistic terms. The same Mundaka Upanishad, if you read Madhva's commentary, you will find he is interpreting many things in terms of Vishnu. Okay, so Vishnu, and he will justify his position interpreting. But this is the thing that we have to understand. All of these interpretations are one-sided, and they do lot of text torturing, okay, to justify their position. That is why we are not taking any dualistic, non-dualistic. As the mantra appears, comes along, we shall take that approach. Okay. Yeah, Betty. Yes, Rick, go ahead.
You hear?
Yes, we do.
So, you know, when you began with the rishis. So this begins, this whole story begins with cognition, right? And all this information is downloaded from the cognition of, I'm going to use the word, of the absolute. So is this absolute the Turiya?
Yes, yes, of course. So, we can call it Turiya.
Okay, so then all this data is downloaded from that cognition. And then just like you just said, so this fellow here, he comes from Ceylon. And in Ceylon, they have this vision. And so he downloads it in Ceylonese. And this other guy, he is from the Saraswati. So he downloads it in that tradition.
Yes,
but the cognition is unified.
Right.
So,
exactly.
what you said about sing, sang, sam. So now Rig Veda is chanted and Samaveda is sung.
Yes, mostly.
I'm not sure I understand the difference, because in the Christians we sing hymns. So
Yes.
what is the substantial difference between a song and a hymn?
Okay. For example, you heard what we started with? Bhadram karnebhi shinuyam devaha. This is chant. Okay. And song will have more variations of the tones or notes. Okay, more variation of the notes. And also will be in a rhythm, in a rhythmic way. Okay.
So the hymn, you know how when you talk Sanskrit has its own, it has its own beat, so to speak. So what is it? You just add music? Add music?
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes. True.
Where in the Vedas do siddhis occur?
Siddhis.
Yes.
Oh, siddhis. All right. So I am not so sure about that, but if it occurs, it will be occurring in the Atharva Veda. Atharva, okay? The fourth type of Veda, which contains a lot of magical formula and things like that.
Okay. Is that what Patanjali? Is that where Patanjali's knowledge is located?
No. Patanjali is independent. Okay, Patanjali yoga is independent, but it always has some connection with the Vedas. And Patanjali does not give the references where of which part of Veda inspired him, which to write about which siddhi. Okay.
Are you asking me a question about which siddhi?
No. I said Patanjali mentions different types of siddhis or supernatural powers. Okay.
Right.
So what he does, it is not his own creation. The knowledge was already there. He was codifying the knowledge. Now, which supernatural power can be found in which part of the Veda, I am not sure about.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have not read Vedas apart from Upanishad and a few hymns that I chant. Okay. I have seen Vedas. They are huge books. Huge books. We have in our main monastery 4 Vedas. Okay. Each Veda is huge book. Those who have seen the shorter Oxford Dictionary. Have you heard of short Oxford Dictionary?
No.
Which is very huge books. Huge in both in volume as well as dimension. It is like the size of a table. These books are. Okay. So it is not of normal book size. Whatever we, for example, here is a standard book, right? Book cover. So imagine 4 of these placed side by side, or 6 of these placed side by side, or maybe 8 of these side by side. That is the dimension of the book. And in thickness, they are double Oxford Dictionary, standard Oxford Dictionary. That is what each Veda is. And if you turn over the page, the fonts are very, very small. Okay, in Devanagari Sanskrit. So imagine how large each Veda is. Okay, and I have not read any of them. Okay. Yes, Paul, I see a raised hand.
So going back to the songs and the difference between hymns and songs, because as Rick mentioned, in the Christian tradition, a hymn is a song, a type of song. Just out of curiosity, so the chanting that we do is 3-tone. It has 3 tones, correct?
Yeah.
So would
Yeah.
the songs then be the 7-tone versions of the same?
Right. Right.
Okay.
Exactly. 7-tone versions. Right. 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 Yes. All right.
Is this hymn? I mean, is this poetry?
Yes, poetry. Poetry. Yeah. Exalted poetry.
I see.
All right. So I have one question to ask that do you think we should do guided meditation also? Write in the chat box. Okay, write in the chat box. And if so, 20 minutes is all right for after each class. Okay. Okay. So from next day we shall do that. But I'm trying to just get an idea whether, because we are doing guided meditation most of the classes. Okay. So seeing how many people want it, we can go ahead. Okay. Do I want to say anything else? Okay. All right. Next day we shall take the overview of the Mundaka Upanishad and, if possible, probably the first 2 mantras. Okay. Okay. So and take a look at the shared document. By Tuesday, I shall upload the materials. Okay. So let's end here today by saying Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Right? Okay. Just a minute. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, 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 peace be unto all.